Morning, Dabbleverse. It's me, Shmuel, a little before 7, Vienna time, coming out to get some coffee. Thought I'd do a little quick proof of life video. Keep promising to do these, but just don't seem to have a lot of time. Mrs. Buckman and I are here in Vienna, headed to Prague in a little while, celebrating our wedding anniversary. Pretty neat place, this Vienna. Lots of old stairs. As you can see, it's also a lot of early morning noise with the garbage trucks and the street sweepers and the leftover drunks. I don't know the area I'm staying in, but I do know apparently we're right next to the Max Wiesenthal Center. Over there is the Hard Rock and the Bermuda Bar. And that green cross up there is the apothecary. Being from New York, I'm used to the green crosses for the marijuana places, but they're not here. They're called Canna Farms, CANNAPHARM. I haven't been in one since I don't engage in those hallucinogenic substances. And I'm going to turn around here, see if we can get that in the picture in the back. Maybe not. Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, got a shit ton of old buildings and a whole boatload of streets that just seem to all go into each other. This is like the touristy area, equivalent to say your Times Square in the Big Apple, but it's very quiet, except for the taxis and the street cleaners. I don't have much to say. Just walking and looking. And I have to say, it's been nice to be out of the Dabbleverse for quite a little bit. And I know the Dabbleverse will work here because this store has 6X t-shirts, which luckily I don't need. But if you did, this would be the place to get them. So it's pretty cool. It's all decorated for Christmas, but the lights are off. And there's a bunch of these places run by the Lions Club. And they serve different kind of punches with alcohol and whatnot. And they charge you $5 for the drink and $5 for the mug. And if you bring back the mug, you get back $5. I gotta say, even though it's been raining and there's leaves all over, the streets are clean, feels very safe. It's rare for me to be in a place that's so filled with Caucasian people. But this is Europe after all. And I will say, at least from where I sit, the demise of Europe has been greatly exaggerated. Everybody's been super cool, not speaking German, which is what they speak in Austria, has not been a problem as everybody speaks English. Mrs. Buckman is still upstairs asleep, and I figured I'd go grab us some coffee and talk to you cats while I'm waiting for the store to open. In any event, if you've never been to Vienna, I highly recommend it. Very cool. Got to go to a Christmas concert last night with a quartet of violinists who played some amazing music in a very cold but beautiful church. Not much there. This place across the street here, Zanoni and Zanoni. I've had more than one cup of cappuccino at. And even though it's cold, people still sit outside. They do warm you up with some lights, and they have blankets you can put across the lap. Uh, Lots and lots of souvenir stores. I guess we'll turn around and show you. Did a lot of exploring yesterday. Uh, these old buildings are pretty damn awesome. Most of them seem to have been built in like 14 and 1500s, and then converted for modern day use. So pretty awesome. It's pretty much a walking city. There are a lot of cabs, but in reminiscent of old New York, it's you versus them. So you kind of got to watch your ass. They also have giant signs all around with the old WC, water closet, toilet, and yesterday it cost me $1 to take a leak, which was a little unusual, but I will say the bathroom was nice and clean, and it had soap and paper. Everybody here seems pretty cool. Seem to like Americans so far. Haven't seen any MAGA hats. I'm just walking around with my Akron Duck hats on. I also have a Winnipeg Jegs hat. Jegs. Winnipeg Jets hat, just in case there were anti-American feelings, I could whip out and act Canadian. But pretty awesome stuff. So we're walking up onto the Gutenberg statue. You remember Gutenberg brought us the Bible for the common man as the first person to use fixed type in the Western world. So now that we've walked there, we're going to walk back to that very, very Austrian place known as McDonald's to get coffee. And I will say, as an avid coffee drinker, I haven't had a bad cup of coffee in the town yet. It's been pretty cool. So what's been going on in the Dabbleverse? I saw a little bit of Levy on Brennan's show last night, which I will say kind of annoyed me. And that's not the sun, that's a light behind me, although it is getting a little brighter out here. You're not allowed to smoke inside here, like in most places, but all of the outdoor seating, all of ashtrays on it, and everybody sits outside and smokes. And even though it's cold, they have blankets on the chairs, as I can show you. And you can throw those, the heaters go on, and then you put the blanket across your lap and you sit and you have a lovely cup of cappuccino and look at the beautiful Austrian women. And I will say very handsome Austrian men. The society seems not nearly as fat as what I saw in England and back home in the US. Must be because there's a lot of walking and the trains are safe and clean. You can hear the church bell going off, and that means it's 7. If it's 7, that means the McDonald's is going to open. Whoop, car went out. Now we got to find us a lighter. So anyway, like I said, I didn't get to see much of it, but I guess where everything old is new again. Kevin going back on, or Levy going back on Kevin's show, which seemed just an effort to trash Shuley. He's been nothing but gracious since this whole situation. And in the end, things I thought from the beginning are true, which is that Shuley just wants to do his show, wants to make his money. And he's not really into this to ruin friendships. So that's my Dabbleverse news. In my world, we'll be traveling today from Vienna to Prague, a couple of days in Prague, and then I think we head to Salzburg, where my wife wants to join the sing-along tour for The Sound of Music, which I'm told the people in Salzburg know nothing of, but Americans and the Western Europeans, like the Irish and the British, seem to love. And since I can't sing worth a damn, I'll just let her use her good voice so as not to embarrass us. Beyond that, not really much else to say. It's fun. This is my first time in this part of Europe. And it's pretty much as I expected it. Lots and lots of food, lots and lots of pastries. Their coffees are amazing. Their pastries are amazing. Some of their other stuff is pretty gross. I had a cheeseburger for dinner last night because it was the only place still open. And it was essentially shoe leather with lots and lots of mayonnaise. And there was a fried egg on top, which is also kind of gross. But haven't met any hookers. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And just not a lot else. So I'm going to walk down to the Big M and grab some coffee, head back up to the room, and wake up the missus. What is interesting, though, for me, and you can see it right over there, the phone booth. There's phone booths all over the place. Most of the cops I've seen have been in cars, and even with the pretty girls wanting to take a picture, they don't line up with them like they do in New York. You know, in New York, part of the routine is when you're asked to take a selfie with a cop, you do it. Here, they're just not interested. I don't know if that's a rule or if they just don't want to do it. But For the most part, they just ride around in cars. And then you get to hear the little woo, 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 woo every now and then. And I'm going to turn away from the camera and I'm going to try to light this up. I had a perfect torch light, little butane lighter that I've taken with me whenever I travel. But apparently at Newark Airport yesterday, 2 or 3 days ago, it was not permitted. They took it away from me. Apparently, with a little single flame torch lighter, I would be able to take down an aircraft. So here we are with the old traditional windproof Zippo, which seems to work, but just not great. There's also a bunch of these everywhere for my smoking friends. Levy would love it here. Off-brand packs are €5, and on-brand packs are 7, which is a lot cheaper than the 19 or 20 you pay for a pack in New York. So in any event, this is just a proof of live stream. Let you know old Shmuel still alive, still kicking, and hoping that later today, Mr. Sarah and I can get together and do an actual stream and talk about all the things that we just know you guys are waiting to hear about. In any event, it's a good night. It's a good day. It's a pretty good city. I like it here. And with that, I'll chat with you cats later. Mason and Portland, get that damn stogie out your mouth. Mason, I would, but it's my last sinful act. I don't drink. I don't smoke cigarettes. Don't smoke weed. Don't take drugs. But I got to have one thing. And if it ain't cigars, it'd be food. So I got a choice. I can risk lip cancer, or I can be fat as a house. And at this moment, I think being fat as a house is one I choose not to do. And I hear my buddy Cupcake was going to come visit you the last couple of days. I don't know whether he got there or not. We weren't able to talk too much. But it's also interesting because I turned this on and here it is, the sun's coming up and Dixon's doing his late night show and Mersh had just finished his. So that was interesting. And these things are all over the fucking place too. The cash machines. And oof, they want a lot of money for their fees. Anyway, this we'll just take a walk, a couple of more feet here. This is like a central, it's like Schadenplatz, which I'm not really great at doing these names, but it's in about 15 minutes or so is going to wind up being like the main public transit thoroughfare. The buses, the trains, you go down into the trains over my shoulder, the main highway, lots of cabs, Yep, there's a light rail goes by. Pretty cool. You can buy passes for different days. The one for here we had for 48 hours, and you can just ride the fucker all day long. But it's a nice city. It's a city, a mix of old and new, so it's pretty common to see a building. You look over my shoulder there, you can see that red apartment building that was built in the last 20 or so years. And if you look to the left, you can see some other buildings that were built in the 1500s. The churches here are beautiful. Um, I'm not much of a God guy, but it's quite amazing. I mean, you can just walking in, you can feel the spirituality. You know, you get the scent of the incense hits you right away, and unlike America, they the towns lend them the money to keep these places intact because the congregations have gotten very small. But what you learn is that these churches are so close together, so beautiful, and for the most part, so the same. You know, they're mostly Catholic, Roman Catholic churches, and they're just a couple of blocks away from each other. So I can only guess that what happened was the guy with the big money built a church, and then the next guy with big money built his church. Kind of reminds me of Rockefeller. Yeah, he didn't like the way things were going at his church in New York, so he built the big one over on the west side. And pretty interesting stuff. And you don't see too many American fast food places here. The two that I've seen and recognized are McDonald's and Wendy's. And the McDonald's here is all kiosks. You order and you pick up. You order, you take a number, you sit at your table, you bring it, or you order and you take out and you go and you stand and they bring you your stuff, which is cool. But really all we've been getting from McDonald's is coffee. And only because they're the ones that open up early enough in the morning to make it worth interesting. So that's Vienna. Oh, there's another one of the modern buildings. And then over here, which we'll get to in just a second, we can look down this street and we can see all of the, behind me, you can see all of the old buildings. And as you can tell, cars were not a thing when they built this place. So they had to fit those in. And as I've learned, they're very strict about where their cars can go, where they can stay. And yesterday it was fun because I was at a cafe and they made us all get up and move, and they had to move the tables so the guy could drive his car through and bring it into his garage. Also seems to be a lot of money here. That car was a Maybach that was going through. And then there was another guy with a Rolls Royce. And it's a pretty interesting thing. So I'm going to pause it. We'll head into McDonald's. We'll order some coffee. And maybe I'll pop back on. And if not, it's been fun. And hopefully this afternoon, after a beautiful train ride, I will give you an update on what Prague looks like. Which I'm hearing You got to be careful with. Here, a lot of people use euros, mostly credit cards, but euros. And I've been told in Prague, only use the credit cards because anything with cash, they'll scam you on. Now, that just may be an Austrian versus a Czech Republic thing where they don't like each other. Or it could be true. And being from New York, I'm going to do my very best not to find out. So that's it, kids. I'll see you later.